Welcome back, everyone. And this is a very special time in our conference that we have an opportunity to sit down with our title sponsor. And I'm extremely delighted to sit down with this young lady. This young lady is a history maker. She's the first African American to ever hold, uh, to run communications for a major automotive brand. And this young woman is Dana White. And we are so pleased to have Dana White here with us today. And we're very happy to have Hyundai as our title sponsor. And from myself, Dr. Chavis, Richard Benneter, the NNPA, and Zinger News, we welcome you.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. It's an incredible opportunity. I'm so happy to be a part of it.
Well, without you, this day would not be possible. So, I just wanted to have a discussion with you about some of the things that Hyundai is doing. And also, I want people to know a lot more about you. Okay. So I just want to have a few questions for you. Um, you know, uh, you have a tremendous life story that's full of achievements. And you've been a trailblazer in many ways in your career. Um, and I just want you to tell our audience, a little bit about your life journey.
Well, first and foremost, I've been very blessed. I had two really great parents. I grew up in Charlottesville, Virginia. My grandfather ran the Black newspaper for over 50 years, the Charlottesville Albemarle Tribune. He started it in September of 1954, in part very much inspired by the Brown versus Board decision. And so my family ran it for over 50 years. I grew up in Charlottesville, went to school in Chicago at the University of Chicago, and actually studied East Asian languages and civilizations. I've always been fascinated by people's stories. And so I studied Chinese. And actually, it's just to show how your life can be full circle. I actually got a scholarship. And the first place I went to was Hyundai Shipbuilding in Seoul. So it's really incredible that more than 20 years later, here I am as Chief Communications Officer for Hyundai North America. And so I worked in DC, loved DC, worked in Congress, got an opportunity to work for the Wall Street Journal's editorial page in New York, and as well as in Hong Kong. Came back, started my own business called 1055 Grady, which actually is the address of my grandfather back in Charlottesville. And then I got the opportunity to, when Secretary Mattis was named Secretary of Defense, got the opportunity to be the assistant to the Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs. And so I spent about 18 months with him and left December 31st, 2018 with him.
So I want to go back because I want our audience to understand that that was a first, because you were the first African American woman to ever be the chief spokesperson for the Department of Defense. And that is an amazing feat. So we're in Black History Month and you've got two first. So people need to know about this. So go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, it was. And I will tell you something that really made an impression on me. And it's just incredible how kind of God works. But I remember being in middle school watching then General Vincent Brooks. He was a spokesperson during Desert Storm. And I had never seen a person of color, let alone a Black man, representing the United States military in that way. And it made an impression on me back in middle school. And so what a thrill it was, again, when I met now retired, but 4-star General Vincent Brooks in Korea when I was with the Secretary of Defense. So it's incredible. It's an incredible honor. I owe that a great deal to Secretary Mattis, who believed that it was very important for Americans to hear the story of the military because the military is made up of all of us. And right. So having someone diverse, having someone who's a woman, and having someone who hadn't served in the military tell their story was really important to him. And so it was a great honor. And yes, it was a first, and I'm really grateful for it.
and we salute you, especially this month being Black History Month. You know, given all that you've accomplished, tell me what's really been instrumental in your success.
I think family, faith, because I'll tell you, I take a lot of pride in being a Black woman. And the women in my family have really taught me who I am, what I'm made of. But I'll tell you something. It's the men in my family. I have two older brothers, my father, my grandfather, who really told me where I could go in life. And I often still hear my grandfather's voice in my head pretty much every time I buy white grapes, because my grandfather used to always say, Mouse, I have grapes in the refrigerator for you. That's how he kept me. He's like, okay, I'll get the grapes. But him always saying, Mouse, I want you to be a smart little girl. I always hear that. Education was always the priority in my family. No one ever really cared if you were pretty, never cared if you were nice, but you had to be smart because knowledge was the only thing no one could take from you. So I remember those lessons from so many people in my family. My grandfather was born in 1896. My great grandmother was born in 1886. And I knew these people, right? And so it means a lot to me to know where they came from, and how much I've done because of their faith in me.
And you're going to continue to do. Absolutely. Continue to achieve. So if you had to advise a young person, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, number one, it's really important to learn something well and to work hard. I think one of the challenges is there's a lot of instant gratification. I think social media has created that, has amplified that. But in every situation I've ever been in, I always try to learn. And I try to learn from everyone around me, as much as from my boss, as from the secretaries or the interns or the assistants, because you can learn something from everyone around you, and ask questions. Everyone's favorite subject is themselves. So ask the question. Ask if there's someone that you admire and you see something that they have or something they've done that you'd like to do, ask them about it. Take them to coffee. I have never had anyone ever turn anyone down who says, hey, I'd just love to know more about you. No one turns down that offer.
Yesterday I was driving in DC, and I was driving along New York Avenue, and I looked up, and we have billboards here. And strangest thing, I actually saw you on the billboard, and I almost had to pull over because I had to take a couple of looks. But you know, can you explain what that's about, and how I know that you're on billboards across the country. Can you talk to us about that and explain to us what that means, what it means to you, and how it came about?
Well, I have to say I'm very grateful to Donna Hughes of Outfront Media, who kind of came to me. This was a new initiative that Outfront Media was doing to honor Black history makers, and not just our past, but who are the people who are making history now. And so they had inaugural honorees, and they selected me as one of them, to be on a billboard, and to show what Black people are doing right here, right now, to make history. And so I'm so honored to have been asked. And Hyundai is such an incredible place. We have a new chairman, and I work for Jose Munoz, who is the first non-Korean to run Hyundai here in America. And the diversity of thought and of people that he's brought to the table has just been incredible. So I'm just very grateful to Hyundai, to Jose, for even giving me the opportunity to be here and to make history.
That's wonderful. That is truly wonderful, and I was amazed when I saw that. You know, I have to ask you this one thing. Being an African American woman, um, corporate America is tough for anyone, but especially women and women of color. what, how do you, how do you tackle it every day? What would you say to women that maybe are making that climb and are struggling with um, being in that situation? What do you find the best coping mechanism, and what would you say to them?
I think the first thing I would say is always be prepared. Um, Never coast. And number two, people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they're thinking about you. That's a really important thing, because I notice with women and Black folks and people of color, we often walk into a room with this weight of, I'm about to walk into a room with a lot of white men, a lot of old white men. I mean, I worked I would walk in at the Department of Defense every morning. And I was literally the only person of color sometimes in the room, the only woman in some of those smaller groups traveling with the secretary. Like, I was the only one. And so what I think is really important to remember is people care more about what you bring to the table than who you are. And when you can bring answers, when you can problem solve, it is amazing how quickly people don't care about your identity. They're like, that's the woman who solves my problems, and I need her here now. That is the key.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you. So let's talk about Hyundai, because without them today, none of this will be possible. In my view, Hyundai has taken the right approach in its efforts to make diversity and inclusion a proactive company mandate rather than a reactive knee-jerk policy met with basic results. With that being said, tell me about Hyundai. How have they been able to get it right where many companies have failed or still trying to figure it out?
First of all, I think the desire for diversity comes from the top. We have a visionary chairman and Chairman Chung, and he has really made what was very much a Korean company a global company, and it has global talent. And with Jose at the helm, Jose Munoz, Jose lives and breathes diversity. I mean, he grew up with women. He believes in it, not because it's a nice to do, and I think that's really important to understand, but because it's necessary, because the market demands it. Performance demands that you have various perspectives, that you understand markets, that you understand people and places and what they want, what are their desires, most of all, what are their dreams, especially when you're in the car business. It's an incredibly competitive business. And I really feel like Hyundai has done a great job with the democratization of technology. You can buy our cars, there are wireless pads in the Sonata or whatever. You can get that with a Hyundai. I love that about us. I love that we care about every customer. We care about where they are and meeting them where they are.
How has the pandemic changed the way Hyundai is doing business now?
Well, the wonderful thing about us is we've gotten record profits for our dealers, highest profit margins we've ever had during the pandemic. We won North American Car of the Year. I mean, we have the strongest product lineup we've ever had. We also donated early because South Korea really was the country that handled the pandemic best early on. And we benefited from that, from the practices in our safety protocols in our plants. We were one of the first automakers to get back up and running. And we really cut and pasted a lot of the things that our headquarters did. So we were just more nimble and more agile, very much because of the lessons learned in Korea. And so it's been fantastic. We're one of the fastest growing brands in the country. And I mean, we have a goal of a million cars by 2025. We are deeply invested in EVs, and we're all about being game changers.
Wow. What car was that you won the car of the year? I mean, the award for?
The all new Elantra.
All right.
I think I have the trophy back in my office. I could put it back here, but yes. Yes.
Incredible. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So let's talk about technology a little bit. What kind of role has technology played in the advancement of the company and even in its outreach to underserved communities of color?
I think technology has this wonderful way of providing a voice to people who didn't have a voice. Technology has a way of amplifying perspectives and skills in a way that, when we were growing up, it wasn't possible, right? And I think within a car, the car is this great equalizer, right? Because when you drive a car, no one knows who you are. A car is the realization of dreams and aspirations. And so when you have a vehicle that's safe, that's reliable, that has incredible tech, the screens, all of those things are in Hyundais. We've really have these tech rich vehicles. And I think that's wonderful because it allows more people to experience it.
Right, right. So,
Apple Play, all that good stuff.
stuff that we love, right? Stuff that even we can figure it out. So, you know, it's good that we're going in that direction because I want to ask you, what do you think the future brings for Hyundai, especially when it relates to high tech?
I think the future is very bright for us. We recently took a majority stake in Boston Dynamics, which was originally out of MIT, and it's robotics. We have also invested over $55 billion, both in green technology research as well as artificial intelligence. So we don't want to follow, we want to lead. Right. Because technology is the game changer. The company and the automaker who understands not just where technology is, but where it's going, and more importantly, what are our customers going to want? That is going to make the difference between winners and losers.
Wow. Your outreach efforts to communities of color have been extremely noteworthy. Just to say the least, small Black businesses want to work with Hyundai in support of this effort. How can they participate?
So I will tell you, we are making great strides towards diversifying our supply chain, but very frankly, there's more we can do. There's more we need to do. We made a commitment to diversify our supply chain, include more minority businesses, to include, partnering with the NNPA and other Black media and outlets to ensure that we're talking to the breadth of our customers. That's really important to us. Also, Hyundai has the highest percentage of dealers who are of color. So again, for us, it's about meeting our customers where they are, how they need things, the way they want things. And that requires us to have the perspective of different businesses, creatives, the entire supply chain, and leadership. And so we've done a really great job. I will tell you, Jose, it's a priority for him because he also sees business and commerce as an opportunity. For him, it's about performance. And we want as many people competing and a part of our supply chain who provide the best services, who do the best work, no matter where they are.
Amazing, amazing. Dana, look, I have to take this opportunity to thank you and Hyundai for this tremendous opportunity. But in conclusion, I just want to give you an opportunity to leave our audience with a closing thought from our signature sponsor's point of view. So.
Well, thank you, Andre. Thank you. Thank you to the NNPA and to Zanger, Richard. It means a lot to me to be a part of this organization, and I'm glad that Hyundai could sponsor this because Black media is incredibly important. not only for what it's meant in the past, but what it's going to mean in the future. And so you all sponsor having a tech conference to talk about where technology is going and how we leverage it for greater opportunities, both business, education, is something that I'm really thrilled that Hyundai could participate in. Because at the end of the day, Hyundai is an innovation company. It's a company about customers, and it's about, our mantra is progress for humanity. And so I just appreciate the opportunity that we could partner together to pursue those efforts, and hopefully do many, many more things in the future.
Dana White, Chief Communications Officer, Hyundai North America. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. I truly appreciate it.